Mr. Basora spoke about the change of culture for the teachers. Just wondering, it was mentioned a little bit before, but most of you were all you were in school when it was traditional, and now that it changed. What was in the beginning of the implementation, what was the temperature amongst the students, without the parents and administrators, et cetera? What were the students saying, and how did they go into, where obviously you're all very happy of being in such an environment?
So when I was when I went to Yellow Springs, it was in, I just really, okay, I was in 6th grade when I moved here. So they'd already been doing PBL for 1 year. And it was a really big change from my old school to my new school, because my old school was like a very traditional, like uniforms charter school. Yes. And it was just a really big change, and I didn't like it at first. And when I moved up to 7th grade, we had a lot more projects, a lot more freedom, and I started to actually really like PBL. And I just had to let go, like Mr. Basora said, of like the old traditional learning, like this is how I want it, and I just had to get over it.
So we went to the same school before this, and that was the kind of school where it was dead silent in the hallway. And if a teacher caught you talking, they took your recess away, they made you sit all by yourself at lunch. Yeah, we had to wear white socks, and they would check to make sure your socks were white. So that doesn't happen at Yellow Springs, and so. But a big thing there is there were friend groups, and so there were a bunch of different groups that around the school. And at Yellow Springs, I would say the whole school is a friend group. And so since you learn critique and you do all this stuff involving your peers, it's more of a happy environment, and you're not scared about going to school because you're going to get bullied or anything like that. It's not bully free, but I'd say it's a lot better than most schools I've been to anyway. But it's just a happier place to be. I mean, you don't get called out if you're wearing pink socks or if they have the little Nike strike on them. You're allowed to talk in the hallway. So it's just a better environment for learning, I think.
Okay, so I was in 6th grade when I first heard the word PBL, and they actually started implementing it my 7th grade year, but the first time I ever heard the word was 6th grade. And at first, and this was like the general opinion of the rest of my class, was, what are they talking about, and why do I have to hear about it? The teachers would talk about it in the hallways, and most of the students were just like, whatever, it's school, so. And then 7th grade, when we had this big assembly and we started talking about what PBL actually was, mostly it was a pretty lazy response. It was people saying, projects are harder, I don't really want to put in that effort. And so there was just a general like boycott sort of vibe. No one really wanted to do it. They thought that it wasn't going to actually go anywhere. But then as the years went on, slowly, more and more people started to actually like PBL. And so those people that liked the projects, if you had one of those people in your group, then there was this peer pressure to do well and to do your work. And that's why PBL actually works, is because you create a culture within the peers where you want people to do your work. You want them to help, and it stops people from getting away with doing nothing. And so that's sort of how the culture changed from like a general boycott to there's always going to be people who don't want to do work. But the cool thing is that it's about the peer pressure. Positive.
Okay, well, so my mom and my sister and I, we have all gone to Yellow Springs High School. And Yellow Springs, like my mom and my sister will both see people that were in their graduating class on the street every single time they go downtown. And I mean, it has always been positive because that's just how Yellow Springs is. And I know that there are a lot of places that aren't that way. And there are a lot of places that are even more positive because that's just how the world is. And I definitely think that pre-PBL, even though I was young, and I mean, it was like elementary school, and so you're friends, you're all kind of friends, and you all, like the things you fight about are petty. And so, I mean, like, I think that even like in middle school times when we were adjusting, it was still kind of petty what we fought over during like projects. Like, I mean, who's going to do this one slide for this presentation that we have to do in the next 30 minutes? Like that, I mean, if we just did it together, it would have been easier. But that was during our school's lemon days, which were the very beginning. And yeah, the lemons. It's really easy to make teachers laugh. I'm like realizing this. So, and now I feel kind of funny, but I'm not. But really, I think that like overall, like definitely our school's atmosphere is different, and the connections teachers and students have, and students have, is different than what they were. And every single class that has ever gone through the high school is different than the one before it, and the one that will be after it. And my class isn't necessarily close, but we're all one class, and we all can like see how we're like together in a way. And I think that we have a bigger picture of where we're going in the world as human beings, and like where we we are considering the people that are around us, which I think is pretty much like what PBL has done, because I know I don't think my mom and my sister got that same experience. So yeah. Who would like to talk?
I remember from my old school where all we didn't do like any projects or anything. It was just worksheets. And, you know, going into Mills Lawn, then it was like heading into Disney World. It was amazing. I mean, when I did my first PBL, I mean, it was, I can't explain it, but it was amazing.
When I had the traditional learning experience, I didn't have a lot of it, but it was kindergarten through 3rd grade. And I thought that it wasn't as, I didn't get to learn things as much, and I didn't actually take it in. It like came in one ear and out the other, and I didn't actually learn how to do it. And I think with PBL, I get a better experience with it, and so I feel like I'm more confident with doing it.